Welcome to VEDA, Vlog Every Day in August, Day 16. Family outing gone wrong. Well, this is basically, it's going to be about a vacation that we had. Usually we had a couple weeks every summer. Sometimes we go up to Minnesota so Dad could go fishing. The Mississippi River starts up there, and I have stepped over it. It's just a little trickle where it starts. Or we'd go out to Philadelphia to visit cousins out there and stay there, and then my uncle would take us out to, well, they'd rent a little house on the shore in New Jersey. So we'd spend time at the shore, go to the boardwalk, things like that. But this vacation I'm going to tell you about, Dad was always extremely frugal. We stayed at really cheap places, and he was very, very money conscious. He made a lot of money, but he also saved a lot of money. Well, he decided, let's go camping. And my family had never, ever been camping. The closest we ever were to camping was barbecue grill. That's it. Or maybe school, church camp or something. But that's just the kid, us kids, and it was a controlled situation where we didn't have to do anything. Dad went in, rented this trailer. You pull behind the car, and when you set up the little stands on each side of it, and you crank the top up and pull the sides out, and there was a bed on each side and a little sink and a little stove. He had planned and made reservations at some place in Mississippi called Catch a Cat Lakes, because he thought he'd bring this fishing pole and he'd catch some catfish and we could eat them. Well, things don't always go the way you plan. And we're in the car going through the hilly areas back and forth and up and down, and we stopped to ask some guy how far this place was, and he goes, oh, just a country mile. Country mile is like 6 miles. We finally got there, and it was starting to get dark. Mom cranked up the tent. She was making sandwiches or something. I was 14, so I was having a fit, temper tantrum, or whatever you want to call it, just being 14, I think. They were arguing over who's sleeping where and who's doing this and who's doing that, and I said, I'm sleeping in the car. So I did. But the campground the spot right near us, some people pulled in with like a little RV, and they had this thing they were dragging behind, pulling behind it. It was an iron lung. Someone in the family needed an iron lung at night. So they plugged in the iron lung, and you could see the iron lung glowing, and you could hear it humming all night. And the little boy was running around, and the mosquitoes were really bad. And the little kid with his ears that stuck way out, and he's going, Daddy, Daddy, them bugs is all over me. Daddy, Daddy, them bugs is all over me. Yeah, that's all we have to say is, Daddy, them bugs is all over me, and we remember that time. It started raining, and it rained like a son of a gun that night. It was all wet and muddy and nasty. So that day, we were going to go to the brand new Disney World. It was the second year that it was open, and not all the park was developed yet. So we disconnected the car, and we went to Disney World, and it was real expensive. Dad had to arrange a deal a long time ahead, and it was expensive to get in. You could only buy, at that point in time, there were sections of the park, Frontierland or this land or that land, so we had to pick one. We were not going to all of them, just one. So we picked one. We went in, and they had, what was it, Country Bear Jubilee or something, big mechanical bears singing. We went to the Hall of Presidents, where we saw a lifelike Lincoln get up and talk. That was pretty cool. I must admit, that was pretty cool. And then the Three Caballero show. And what else did we see? The Haunted House. I like that one. That was cool. Haunted Mansion, I guess they call it. And then there was a ride. We waited in line 2 freaking hours. I was 14 and 6 foot tall already. David was 8 and Richard was 12. And we waited in line and finally got up to these little Model T cars. What you do is you press down on the pedal and it goes, and you let up and it stops. Easy peasy. And it had like a little rail. You couldn't get off the road. It would ride this rail. My legs were too long. I could sit in there sideways with Rick driving it. And he had the time of his life. He loved that ride. And then we went one last thing before we left. And they were going to go on It's a Small World After All ride. Now, I did not want to go on that because I did not want that song in my head until the end of time. So I went right next door was a ride sponsored by an airline called If You Had Wings. They went on the Small World ride, which got stuck, and they had to hear that music even longer. The one I was in, you just ride these little cars slowly, and then one room, every surface, wall, ceiling, and everything, you were like flying right over the mountaintops with clouds and sky all around you. Oh God, that was so cool. The next room, even though you were going slow, it looked like you were going 500 miles an hour. You were on the Grand Prix racetrack. Were different parts of the world that this airline would fly to, and it showed you all the beautiful splendor and the nature and the towns and everything. I loved it. I loved it. And then when we went back, we spent another night there. Everything was muddy and miserable. I think I slept in the car again, or I don't think I slept much at all. And then we headed home. But that was a very unpleasant vacation. Yeah. Upward and onward.